Welcome to Giving and Generosity. I'm Colleen Derrick with Swaggers Insurance. We are on Death and Taxes Will Happen, Module 4, Part 2. This is the tax part, which is taxation when we're giving to community and friends. Things to consider, questions to ask as you're working with a professional. Deemed dispositions. When you are gifting something to somebody and you're either selling it or you're doing certain things that might essentially affect the ownership, or if CRA, the Canadian Revenue Agency, says, you know what, you need to make sure the taxes are up to date when you do this certain activity. That last one is called a deemed disposition. So you haven't actually disposed of the asset, you haven't actually cashed or sold anything, but they say, you know what, essentially, we think you need to bring the taxes up to date. That's called a deemed disposition. They deem it a disposition. Why does that matter? Well, because sometimes when you're giving, we aren't aware that we are actually doing something that's going to cause that to happen. Talk to your accountant when you're planning on giving things. If it's not money, if it's something else you're planning on giving, talk to your accountant and say, hey, is there going to be a deemed disposition that's going to impact this in my taxes? Need to know. Then you've got to ask number 2 on taxes. Is there a difference on the taxation if I give this gift while I'm alive or if I give this gift when I'm dead? Well, you say, well, why would that make a difference? Well, because it does. It does make a difference. Some things that when you die, like on an RRSP, in the family section, if you give that while you're alive, then it's a disposition of an RRSP. But if you have that slide to a spouse on death, then it can be considered intact, and there's no taxable event. Well, that's a difference. So what's an example of community and friends? I can't think of one right now. So that's what it is. But talk to your accountant and just ask, is there going to be a difference on the taxes if I give this while I'm alive or if I give it when I'm dead? The nice part, I think, of giving while you're alive is that you are alive to make sure that it gets done the way you want it to. Whereas when you're giving when you're dead, you hope you do it right, but if something goes awry, you're not there to pick up the pieces. But as far as taxation goes, again, if you're selling something and paying the taxes, you have to pay the tax in the year that you dispose of it. If it's given when you're dead, then depending on what it is, it might be allowed on your final tax return. You might be able to carry a loss if there's a loss on the sale back a few years to do something better on your previous years, and you're not going to be doing this because you're dead. But the people who are managing your stuff and your executor and the other people that are getting the goods that you're leaving behind, they can do this and it can make a difference to them. Or you might be able to use it on your terminal tax return. If there's a gain, you might be able to split. Talk to your accountant. Ask the question. Now, the other question is, do I want to give this money to the community or my friends when I'm alive or when I'm dead? And if I want to do it when I'm dead, do I want to do that through the will, which is a matter of public record so everybody can know who gets what and can be contested? But, you can give them whatever you have. You can just bequeath it to them. Do you want to do that through the will? Or if you're wanting to give them a specific item, yes, that is a great way to do that. Make sure your will's up to date. Talk to one of the lawyers. You can find them on Money Renovations. Talk to one of the lawyers. Get your will done. Make sure it's legal. Make sure it's properly done. If you're giving and gifting land or property that's outside of the province you live in, you need to tell your lawyer that. There are going to be implications to that. Okay? Get legal help. Do that. Make sure it's up to date. Get legal help and make sure that you're asking advice about transferring or bequeathing property or items that are outside of the province you live or the country you live in. And then if you're choosing to do it as a beneficiary, the benefits of the beneficiary are, again, it's private and it's very quick. It doesn't have to pass through probate. And again, Alberta probate is pretty cheap. Other provinces, not so much. No legal team can take a percentage of the assets. Some legal teams do. Our lawyers that we have, they're very fairly priced. They're not going to rip you off. So I'd recommend you at least have a chat with one of them when you're considering what legal team you want to use, and recommend for your family to use when they're settling your estate. So you want to deem disposition question to your accountant, alive or dead, ask your accountant and talk to your lawyer. And you want to do it through the will. If it's an item, yes, ask your lawyer. If it's out of province or out of country, or do you want to do as a beneficiary, talk to your insurance expert. That would be myself or Lillian or Amy, and we can help you with the details on products and how to set it up and how to use strategies to make sure that that is really effective and efficient to get done what you would like to see done.